A ball hangs from a string inside a railroad car moving along a straight track. The string is observed to be inclined towards the rear of the car, making a constant small angle with the vertical. It shows that the car is. Let us suppose this as the rail car. Let this be the front end of the rail car and let this be the rear end. It is given that a simple pendulum bob which is hanging from the roof of the rail car is inclined to the rear end with small constant angle to the vertical. Say the angle of inclination is theta. So to understand this, let us assume that we are also in the rail car. We see no force acting on the simple pendulum bob. So in order to understand this, we assume there is a pseudo force acting on the simple pendulum bob which is directed towards the rear end of the car, because of which the inclination is towards the rear end. Now let us understand why these pseudo forces are coming to play a role. The pseudo forces will come to play a role when the frame itself is accelerated. That means in this case this rail car is accelerated in the forward direction, or in other words there is a net force acting on the rail car in the forward direction, because of which all the bodies in the rail car will experience pseudo force in the backward direction. So this scene clearly depicts the question, hence option A is the right choice. But let us also consider option B, option C and option D separately, and we shall see in these cases how does the simple pendulum bob behaves, because we don't know in examination which of the option or which of the case will be given, right? So let us consider option B, which says the rail car is moving with uniform velocity. So we know that when there is a uniform velocity, the net force acting on the body will be zero. That means no net force is acting on the rail car. That means the acceleration of the rail car is zero. Therefore, the simple pendulum bob will not experience any pseudo force. It will be hanging vertically downwards as shown in the diagram. If this is the case, we need to choose option B as the answer. Now let us consider option C, in which it is given that rail car is moving with a uniform retardation. In this case, the motion will be in the forward direction. The net force acting on the frame, that is rail car in this case, will be in the opposite direction. That means it is acting towards the rear end of the rail car, because of which there will be retardation directed backwards. The pseudo forces acting on the bodies inside the rail car will be directed in the forward direction. Hence, the simple pendulum bob will be inclined to the front end of the rail car with small constant angle, say theta. If this is the case with the simple pendulum, we need to choose option C as the answer. Now, in option D, it is given that rail car is moving with acceleration which is increasing constantly. That means the force acting on the rail car go on increasing gradually, or in other words, the acceleration of the rail car is also go on increasing, because of which the pseudo force acting on the simple pendulum bob will also go on increasing in its magnitude, but its direction stays constant, which is towards the back end of the rail car. Because of this case, the simple pendulum bob will be inclined to the rear end of the rail car, but the angle of inclination go on increasing with respect to time. Say for example, initially the angle of inclination is this, and in the next few moments we see the simple pendulum bob in this position, which is having more angle of inclination and so on. So if this is the scene, or if this is the case with the simple pendulum bob, we need to choose option D as the right choice. So option A is the right choice for the given case. A man sitting in a train in motion is facing the engine. He tosses a coin up. The coin falls behind him. The train is. Let us consider this as the train. Here we have engine and person is sitting somewhere here. Now let us consider option A and option B, in which it is given that the train is moving with uniform speed. But in the option A it is forward, and in option B it is backward motion. In both these cases, the acceleration of the rail is 0. Now, when the coin is thrown, it will be having the velocity equal to the velocity of the train at that instant. Now, the horizontal velocity of the coin will be constant because there is no one to check its speed. So does the speed of the train. Hence, the coin will come back to the person who has thrown it if the train is moving with uniform speed, either in the forward direction or in the backward direction. So option A and option B can be discarded here. Let us look at option D, which says the train is moving forward with deceleration. That means acceleration is opposite to the velocity of the train. Now, at the moment the coin is released, the speed of coin in the horizontal direction is equal to the speed of the train at that instant. But speed of the train go on decreasing with respect to time, but the speed of the coin in the horizontal direction remains same. Hence, the coin will travel more distance in the forward direction and it will fall in front of the person who has thrown it. Hence, option D is also discarded here. Hence, option C is the right choice. But let us consider what will happen in this case. So here it is given that train is moving forward with acceleration. So when the coin is thrown, at that instant, the horizontal velocity of coin is equal to the train velocity at that instant. But train velocity go on increasing with respect to time. That means it covers more horizontal distance than the coin. The coin's speed remains constant with respect to horizontal. So it falls behind the person who has thrown it. And this is the case given in the numerical or in the question. So option C is the right choice. If the displacement of the particle varies with time as root of x equals t plus 7, the option A, velocity of the particle is inversely proportional to t. Option B, velocity of the particle is proportional to t. Option C, velocity of the particle is proportional to root of t. Option D, the particle moves with a constant acceleration. Let us first write the given equation, which is root x equals t plus 7. Let us square on both sides. What we get is x equals t square plus 14t plus 49. Now, if we differentiate this, we get velocity with respect to time. So, dx by dt is velocity according to the definition. So, if you differentiate right hand side with respect to time, we get 2t plus 14 plus 0. That is v equals 2t plus 14. This equation clearly says that velocity is directly proportional to time. Velocity is directly proportional to time. Hence option B is the right choice. Let us also look at another possibility here, because in option D we have acceleration. So if you differentiate velocity with respect to time, we get acceleration. So if you differentiate the right hand side of this equation, v equals 2t plus 40, we have 2 plus 0. That means acceleration is 2 in this case, which is a constant. So this is a multiple option correct question, in which option B and D are correct choice. The displacement x of a particle along a straight line at time t is given by x equals a naught plus a1t plus a2t squared. The acceleration of the particle is. We have given the position equation of the particle, which is x equals a naught plus a1t plus a2t squared. With usual notation, a0, a1, a2 are constants. Now let us differentiate this equation with respect to time, that is dx by dt on LHS equals differentiation of a0 is 0, differentiation of a1t is a1, differentiation of a2t squared is a2 into 2 into t, that is 2a2t. But by definition, dx by dt is velocity. So we have velocity equals a1 plus 2a2t. Now if we differentiate this equation, we get acceleration. So let us do that. Differentiation of v with respect to time is dv by dt. Differentiation of a1 is 0. Differentiation of 2a2t is 2 times a2. That means acceleration is equal to 2 times a2. Option C is the right choice. A moving body is covering the distance directly proportional to the square of the time. The acceleration of the body is. It is given that the displacement covered by the body is directly proportional to the square of time. Now if we differentiate this, we get dx by dt. According to the definition, it is velocity, and this is going to be directly proportional to 2 times t. Now if we differentiate this equation with respect to time again, we have dv by dt, which is nothing but acceleration according to the definition, which is directly proportional to differentiation of 2t, which is just 2. So if you look at this, we can easily say that acceleration is constant. Option D is the right choice. A person travels along a straight road for the first half time with a velocity v1 and the second half time with a velocity v2. What is the mean velocity with which he travels? Let us consider this as the straight path along which the person travels. Now let the time interval be t. So during the first half of the time interval t, he travels a distance say x1 and the speed with which he travels is v1. For the next half time interval, say t, he is going to travel a distance x2 and the speed with which he covers this distance is v2. We all know that the average speed is defined as the ratio of total displacement covered by total time taken. So now what is the total displacement covered here? It is x1 plus x2. And what is the total time taken? Is 2t. Now we can substitute v1t for x1, since the displacement covered is nothing but speed multiplied with time for which the body is under motion, plus x2 can be written as speed into time, whole divided by the total time interval is 2t. Upon simplifying, we get average speed as v1 plus v2 divided by 2. So option A is the right choice. The variation of velocity of a particle moving along a straight line is illustrated in the following figure. The displacement covered by the particle in 4 seconds is. So we all know that area under velocity time graph gives displacement. Here the area under the graph can be subdivided into different geometrical shapes. Let us first consider area under the graph from time 0 seconds to 1 second, which does look like a triangle. So the displacement covered in this time interval, let us indicate it by x1, which is given by area of the triangle is half into base is 1 second here, into height is 20 meter per second here. Solving this, we get 10 meter as the displacement in first 1 second. In the next 1 second, the displacement covered by the body is given by area under this line, which does look like a rectangle. So let us indicate it by notation x2. The area of the rectangle is length into breadth. Length is 1 second here. Breadth is 20 meter per second. Solving this, we get 20 meter as the displacement covered by the body in the next 1 second. Now, for the next 1 second of time interval, the area under the curve look like a trapezium. Let us denote the displacement covered by the body in this time interval as x3. So area of the trapezium is half into sum of two parallel sides. One of the parallel side is 20 meter per second here. The other parallel side is 10 meter per second here, into perpendicular distance between them. The perpendicular distance between these two parallel side is 1 second here. Solving this, we get 30 by 2, that is 15 meter as the displacement in the next time interval of 1 second. Now, during the last second, the area under the graph look like a rectangle again. Let us denote the displacement covered by the body as x4 in this case. The formula for area of a rectangle is length into breadth. Length is 1 second here. Breadth is 10 meter per second. So 10 meter is the displacement covered in the last second. Adding all this, we get 55 meter as the total displacement covered by the body, which is given in option C. Option C is the right choice. A particle is moving eastward with a velocity of 5 meter per second. In 10 seconds, the velocity changes to 5 meter per second northwards. The average acceleration in this time is. Let us first denote the directions here. on paper. So let this direction be north, this is east, this one is west, and this one is south. So initially the particle is moving towards eastward with a magnitude of speed equal to 5 meter per second. After 10 seconds, the speed of the or the velocity of the body is noticed to have magnitude 5 meter per second and it is directed towards north. So let us denote this by Vi, which is initial velocity, and let us denote this by Vf, which is final velocity. The change in velocity is given by Vf minus Vi. So Vf is towards north, having magnitude 5, and minus Vi will be towards west. Be careful, minus Vi will be towards west because minus means direction is reversed. So if we add these two, we will get delta V, that is change in velocity. So by vector law of addition, we know that diagonal formed by these two adjacent sides is the resultant. So this is delta V. So the magnitude of delta V after solving we get equal to 5 root 2 meter per second. So now the acceleration of the body is defined as rate of change of velocity. So the change in velocity is 5 root 2. The time interval for which this change is taking place is 10 seconds. Solving we get 1 by root 2 meter per second squared as the answer. And what is the direction? It is northwest. So magnitude is 1 by root 2 and direction is northwest, which is given in option A. Hence option A is the right choice. A ship of mass 3 into 10 power 7 kg initially at rest is pulled by a force of 5 into 10 to the power 4 Newton through a distance of 3 meter. Assuming that the resistance due to water is negligible, the speed of the ship is. So let us first find the acceleration of the ship, which is given by net force acting on the ship divided by its mass. The force is given as 5 into 10 power 4 and the mass of the ship is given as 3 into 10 to the power 7. So the acceleration of the ship will be 5 by 3 into 10 power minus 3 meter per second square. Here it is given that the total displacement covered by the ship is 3 meter and we have been asked to calculate its final velocity. So we know the equation of motion relating this displacement, acceleration and the velocity, which is v square equals u square plus 2as. It is given that initial velocity of the ship is 0, hence u square will be 0 and we have v square equals 2as. Let us substitute for a, which is 5 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 3 and the displacement covered by the ship is 3. So simplifying we get 10 into 10 to the power minus 3, which is 10 power minus 2. If you take root on both sides, we have v equals 10 power minus 1 meter per second. So this is the final velocity of the ship, which is given in option C. Option C is the right choice. The relation between time t and distance x is t equals alpha x squared plus beta x, where alpha and beta are constants. The retardation is Let us first write the given equation, which is t equals alpha x squared plus beta x. Let us first differentiate this with respect to time. Differentiation of time with respect to time is 1. Differentiation of alpha x squared is 2 times alpha x into dx by dt, which is velocity according to the definition. And differentiation of beta x is beta into dx by dt, which is v again. If you rewrite the equation for velocity, we have 1 over 2 alpha x plus beta. Let us call this as equation number 1. If we differentiate velocity equation once again with respect to time, we get acceleration. So dv by dt is acceleration according to the definition. What is differentiation of 1 over 2 alpha x plus beta? It is going to be minus 1 2 alpha x plus beta whole to the power minus 2 into differentiation of 2 alpha x, which is 2 alpha into dx by dt, which is v. Now let us rewrite this as minus 2 alpha v divided by 2 alpha x plus beta squared. Now we know that 1 over 2 alpha x plus beta is v. So substituting v for that, we have 2 alpha v into v squared. Now we have minus 2 alpha v cube as the final answer for acceleration. We can discard minus sign since it is only having directional aspect. So option A is the right choice.